Hello, today we are talking about a very important event in history, uh, the event which literally changed all the world. We will talk about the assassination of Franz Ferdinand in June 28, 1914. The infamous spark which started the World War One, but we are talking about how the event is rewritten into the nice story in your school books. Actually, probably wasn't such way the thing happened in reality. Yeah, if we are talking about the assassination of the Franz Ferdinand and we are watching the official version of it, it's uh, quite uh, it's quite a romantic story about a young Serbian guy, 18 years old, who was some kind of freedom fighter for millions or some kind of just terrorist, but anyway, a romantic hero um, who just mm, shut down, who just killed very important guy, uh, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Um, he is portrayed as almost a lone hero, lone rebel, lone anarchist, lone nationalist, who just was so good, who was in right time in right place, and just killed the guy, the Franz Ferdinand, the mm, would be successor of the emperor of Austria-Hungary, and the guy with the assassin called Gavrilo Princip, very good name actually for the former peasant Gavrilo Princip. I would like to have such kind of name myself. Yes, he's looked like some kind of very romantic guy. But if you watch this kind of closer, then probably I want to show you it wasn't so easy and it wasn't such kind of um, simple romantic story like your school books are showing to you. So let's see the story uh, a bit closer. So let's see, and I can show you that your school book's official history is pretty much lying to you about the very crucial event, but but it was really very crucial event. But anyway, it was a bit actually organized a bit different way than your official history books are telling you. Okay, let's see the um, elements, the characters we and the environment where this kind of things happened in June 28, 1914. Let's go on. Okay, Europe 1914. It was quite a different place than we have now. More than 100 years later, it was ruled by the empires. All of them were colonial empires, and if you see, the biggest empire was, of course, Russia, which owned um, almost many the small countries we have now. Others empires seems to be much smaller here, but we have to know that almost all of them has had the colonies in Africa, in Asia, especially Great Britain had a lot of colonies, but France had colonies, Spain had colonies, Italy had colonies. Germany has had less colonies, but had the colonies too. The Austria-Hungary had quite less colonies. Most of the countries were monarchist countries. They had a monarchy ruling. It means that some kind of the old families were owning the countries. The exceptions were France and what to say. I don't see any much more exceptions because almost all the countries were monarchist countries. Mm, and there were rulings emperors or kings. Emperors were in Germany, in Austria and Hungary, and in Russia. Uh, but the smaller countries had kings, but yet it was quite different kind of place we have now. The empires actually, we should say, had pretty tense relationship with each other, and they made the allies with each other. Russia had an ally with Great Britain and France. Germany allied with Austria and Hungary, and so they tried to. Actually, they were interested in making some great big war to make things clear which empires are the best ones and the more powerful ones. So it wasn't idea to make some small countries small, but it was idea to make the empires even bigger. And Austria Hungary, you'll see, is in the middle of the Europe, and the empire was interested in Romania, it was interested in Serbia, a little bit in Bulgaria, and maybe what was interested in lands of Ottoman Empire. It means Turkey too. So it was really tense situation in Europe in 1914. So the main idea was to start some kind of war to make clear which empire is the best one. The things we are talking about today happened in Austria and Hungary. It was such kind of quite weird empire, weird country. It's contained a lot of different ethnic groups and nations. You can see here is a map where the different ethnic groups are shown, and we can see here the three kinds of ethnic groups mostly were living in Austria-Hungary. There was Germans, it means Austrians. There was Slavic people, every kind of Slavic people, Slovenes, Ukrainians, Poles, Slovaks, Czechs, and there was Hungarians, which was a separate but very big nation group. And the Austria-Hungary was separated to different regions, which were called Bohemia, Galicia, Austria, Hungary, Slovakia, Transylvania, and Slavonia. And Sarajevo, where the Franz Ferdinand was killed, was in Slavonia. It contained mostly the Serbian, Croatian, and Bosnian people, which were pretty the same ethnic groups, but they had different religions. Croatians had Catholic religion. Serbians had Orthodox, Slavic Orthodox Church, and Bosniaks were Muslims. But actually, by ethnics, they were pretty the same Slavic people. Okay, all the different areas, the different different lands here were in very pretty tense relationship with each other, and some very kind of silent fight with each other. And dominating were of course Austrians, it means Germans and Hungarians. As you see here, another other map. So it shows that the different of to say capitals of different ethnic groups and different lands, and of course Vienna was capital of Germans, and of course Budapest was capital of the Hungarians. As you see, the main place we are talking today, the Sarajevo was capital of Bosnia. So the emperor of Austria-Hungary was Franz Joseph I. Franz Joseph I was quite old man already. He was born in 1813. He became the leader of the emperor of the empire 18 years old in 1848. But yes, in 1914 he was pretty old already, and it was clear his reign will end pretty soon, so he needed the successor. But the problem was the emperor Franz Joseph didn't have the son. He had daughters, but didn't have the son. His only son was made suicide some years ago before, and so he needed some successor chosen among his nieces. As the first successor by the law was such kind of guy, or the main guy, or the main target of our story, the archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir presumptive. He was the son of brother of Franz Joseph, and he was born in 1863. So he was a little bit older than 50 years old, or he was 50 years old when he was killed in Sarajevo. But we reached to that kind the event. He was a trouble guy, and to cut the long story short, Franz Josef wasn't very pleasant about him. There was a numerous problems. One problem was his temper, his character. He was a bit choleric. Franz Ferdinand was a choleric, and he wanted to make every kind of modernization in the Austrian-Hungary Empire. Uh, the one main thing why he was kind of trouble guy, and the Franz Josef didn't like him, was his marriage. He was married to a noble woman, Josephine, but problem was that the family where the Josephine was born wasn't high enough. He wasn't. It wasn't first-rate family. So the Franz Joseph, the emperor, was very angry when Franz Ferdinand married Sophie. He married Sophie to the love, not by the law. And Franz Joseph was so angry about Franz Ferdinand, about his marriage, and made the law that the Franz Ferdinand's kids, his children, never get the way to get that his kids never become the emperors. So Franz Ferdinand was pretty much hated in the family, in the royal family. There was other problems too, because Franz Ferdinand wasn't very pleasant, wasn't happy with the system of the Austrian-Hungary, and he was pretty much critical about the Hungary part and wanted to diminish its importance quite a lot, and wanted to make the Slavic parts more important. That's why he was pretty popular in Slavonia and in Bohemia too. So, but the Hungary nobility hated him a lot. So it was clear that Franz Ferdinand had quite a lot of enemies, and he had enemies amongst the Serbians too, because his ideas were pretty against the ideas of the Serbia. Serbia once wanted to become more important in the region and maybe get pieces of the Austrian-Hungary Empire too, because Serbia was really ambitious those days, and Austria-Hungary and Serbia had quite a lot of trouble with each other. So, to cut the long story short, Franz Ferdinand had quite a lot of enemies, and the one main enemy he had was Franz Joseph I himself. Yep. But as I said, Franz Ferdinand was pretty popular in Slavonia and in Bosnia, so he was quite uh, pleased when he was invited to visit Sarajevo and also Bosnia, because he knew that the people there are loving him. But of course, he knew that there are certainly some Serbian guys who wants to, okay, maybe not kill him, but make harm to embarrass him or make some trouble. It was well-known information mission, so stays. Okay, let's go to the situation. Okay, another guy who hated Franz Ferdinand, of course, was that kind of boy those days. Okay, the young man was Karl Franz Joseph Ludwig Hubert Georg Otto Maria. And why he dislikes Franz Ferdinand a lot was the fact that if the Franz Ferdinand would was dead or something, then the Karl Franz Joseph would become the emperor himself. So Karl Franz Joseph wanted to be the emperor himself, and so he for him it would be very good when the Franz Ferdinand was dead. So another enemy for the Franz Ferdinand. And as we will see, the Karl Franz Joseph Ludwig Hubert Georg Otto Maria, born in 1887, very young man, is really quite a crucial man uh, in the fate of Franz Ferdinand. So let's go to the Sarajevo, the place where Franz Ferdinand was killed. It was close to Serbia, and Serbia, as I said, wanted to become more important in the region, be, become even bigger. And Serbia was very close to Sarajevo, and it was those days borders were not pretty weak. They weren't well guarded, and the people were crossing the border a lot. And Serbian anarchists and Serbian rebels were notorious already those days, and it was clear that they are influencing the young people in Bosnia too. That because in Bosnia there were living quite a lot of Serbians who maybe probably wanted to become the part of the part of the big Serbia, huge Serbia. So it is how to say, the people, the places where the assassination happened, and we go on the situation, the day when the assassination happened. And if the lecture was pretty boring, then it becoming much more interesting. So let's go back to the to the to the to the map. Okay, June 28th. It was a beautiful day. It was summer 1914. Franz Ferdinand was already at least a day before in the Bosnia, and he was sleeping in a military camp a night, and returned to Sarajevo to have some to say pretty fun trip to the city hall, have a speech, and that's all. Meet the people, create the crowd. He was, as I said, he was pretty popular, and that's all. Nothing very special. He was, as I said, he was spending a day in the Sarajevo, even a day before, in June 27, and nothing happened. So he went to the Sarajevo by train from the military camp, and stepped to his, and so he came to the Sarajevo with a train, with a, and arrived to his and he came to this Sarajevo by with a train, and he came arrived to the train station, and he was greeted by some people, some officials. Yeah, the officials were Lieutenant Colonel Count Franz von Harrach, and von Harrach was von Harrach was preparing him the car. So, and he was showing the car to the Franz Ferdinand, and it was officially a luxury car, but it was open car, totally open car, and it was clearly very unsafe car. As I can say to you, those days actually they had already that kind of closed car. They had even armored cars those days, and they use such kind of cars when the armored cars they had already when the very high level people, higher rank people were traveling around because every kind of anarchists and every kind of rebels were hanging around, and their, of course, their habit was to kill the monarchs and the relatives of the monarchs, because those days it was almost the only way to change anything. So the life of monarchs were pretty dangerous. And as we see, the Graf and stiff car, although it looked powerful and it was pretty big, was really unsafe choice to carry the Franz Ferdinand. And the driver of the car was Leopold Loika, very important guy of the event which will happen. Leopold Loika, pretty young guy from Czechs, from Bohemia, and was so it's kind of uh, quite the interesting choice by the colonel Count Franz von Harasch. He wasn't a local guy. He was close to Harash himself. So Loika is a crucial part of the events too, and all the visit of Franz Ferdinand was secured, and mm, yeah, it was secured by the guy, the governor Oscar Potiorek. Again, not the local guy, the higher, he was a high rank military guy, and he was close to the royal family. And Oscar Pocherek will be very important figure in the events which will come. He was older than the Franz Ferdinand, and he was such kind of, as I said, ruthless military guy who hated the Serbs a lot and wanted uh, to get some reason to suppress the local Serbs. So the Oscar Potiorek was a guy who had to secure the life of Franz Ferdinand. He was a local tough guy. So the very important guy was, of course, Franz von Harasch, who was to responsible to give the Franz Ferdinand the car, and he gave the Graf and stiff, open and very unsecure car to Franz Ferdinand with a driver called Leopold Loika, not a local guy, but close to the Harash. And yes, everything was secured, so-called secured by Oscar Potiorek. So Franz Ferdinand wasn't idiot, and he was pretty worrying about the security of the car and asked from the Harras, is it the car really safe? But Harras said that, okay, no problem. It's very safe, and you are loved here in Bosnia and in the Sarajevo, so don't worry about it. the security. Every people wants to see you and you greet you. So they had the idea to visit the city hall. It had to be very simple and very nice day for the Franz Ferdinand. Okay, let's see the, the road in the animation of the of the ride
At 10 o'clock, they set off in
of
a
the
convoy of vehicles.
Franz
Then, as a
Ferdinand in
luxury
his
open limousine,
totally unsafe
they
car.
drive south
So they
and east.
drove through the
Their
streets,
destination is here, the town hall where a
and
lavish
this is
reception
we
is
can
waiting.
see the city hall, pretty
Little
nice,
did the royal couple know,
um,
but they were about to run a lethal gauntlet.
remarkable buildings are.
Along the route are assassins,
This
young
here,
men committed to freeing Bosnia from Austrian rule and
and
uniting with Serbia.
yeah,
They are
but
armed with weapons
troubles. You
supplied by
can see
rogue members of
the
the
streets
Serbian
were
government.
pretty narrow besides the
The
river,
first assassin is standing here,
and
armed with a
troubles were sure to come.
pistol. But as the convoy drives past,
Franz Ferdinand didn't know that a bunch of Bosnian Serbian hotheads are trying to kill him. There were several of them, but most of them on the road didn't dare to do anything. But one guy did something.
he freezes
So
and does nothing. At
first
10 past
one,
10, the convoy
first of
reaches
the
Nadielko Kobrnovich.
hotheads was close to the bridge, and
Kobrnovich was
he
waiting, a
was
young man dying of tuberculosis,
his name
desperate to
was
complete this mission before his death. He threw a bomb as the archduke's
Nedelko
car passed
Chabrit.
at 20 yards range. It bounced off the back of the car and rolled. The archduke lost the necks of the assassin. Nothing. The hall. Assuming that the people, the archduke's driver accelerated away underneath the car behind, blowing up and injuring around 20 death. He threw Kobrnovich.
And one guy did something close to the bridge, and his name was Nedeljko Chabrinovich. Nedeljko Chabrinovich was local anarchist and part of the group which had very different names, and he was part of the group called Young Bosnia, and the Young Bosnia had some guys of the Young Bosnia had the idea to kill the Franz Ferdinand. Probably it wasn't their own idea. It was told to them to kill them. Franz Ferdinand. Okay, Chabrinovich had a grenade or little bomb, and he threw the bomb to the through towards the car of Franz Ferdinand, and it exploded, but not close to the Franz Ferdinand cars, but close to the car behind the Franz Ferdinand. So at this moment, the Franz Ferdinand's car was in the middle of the cavalcade. That's the very unsafe car. In the car of Franz Ferdinand's were the Poitiorek and Leopold Loika and Franz von Harasch. So all the gang was in the same car. Franz Ferdinand was put on the last seats, so he was in very unsafe, very vulnerable place. Anyway, Chabrinovich threw the bomb towards Franz Ferdinand's car, but Franz Ferdinand's car was second car, not the third car. So the bomb exploded besides the third car. Some people were injured. It was mess. Chabrinovich was arrested when he wanted to jump to the river, but the river was not very deep, and so he was dragged out. He was arrested such kind of spectacular way. There was a photographer was close to it and pictured arresting Chabrinovich. Um, Later, this same picture was shown as as a picture of arresting the Gavrilo Princip, but it wasn't the case. It's actually the arresting Chabrinovich. So Chabrinovich was arrested. It was a mess. Everybody was shaken, and of course, logical way. Just all the schedule should be stopped and cancelled. Franz Ferdinand should have been leaves Bosnia and Sarajevo, of course, because it was a dangerous place. But Potiorek ordered to go on and drive to the city hall. It was very unlogical, but Potiorek ordered such way, and
Rain. This assassin,
so
the speech he reads out
they
is covered in the blood of
drove
his
to the
assistant injured in the crash.
city hall.
They decide to visit their wounded
And
colleagues and the
what was
bystanders in the
fun, what
Sarajevo
was
hospital.
interesting, they did
At 10:45,
not
the royal group leaves the
cancel
town hall.
anything. They sorry, they continued like nothing almost happened. Franz Ferdinand arrived to the city hall almost exactly the right time, and he was giving a speech there like nothing happened, like nobody wanted to kill him in brutal way with a bomb. Here we can see the pictures of Franz Ferdinand going to the city hall. He was received by the Bosniaks, and everybody, like nothing happened. And here we can see inside the city hall, Potiorek is seen here and clearly visible in the front of. And here is Franz Ferdinand meeting the people and giving, and he gave the speech. He was shaken, but he gave the speech like almost nothing happened. Although it was a very scandalous event when he was almost killed. So so it was very interesting. And say there was a confusion what to do next. And Potiorek said that there is no problem to continue like almost nothing happened. Later they said that Franz Ferdinand wanted to visit the injured people he knew. Baron Margus Kiis, Franz Ferdinand's Chamberlain, who was really the Chamberlain was really right and said that Archduke and his wife should remain at the town hall until the troops could be brought into the city to line in the streets to make everything so secure as possible. And probably Franz Ferdinand should leave the city as soon as possible. So the Baron, the Rumerskirch, the Franz Ferdinand Chamberlain was really, he was really right, and he had some really, really right ideas. But Governor Oscar Potiorek said totally otherwise. He said that soldiers cannot come because they came just straight from the maneuvers, and they don't have the proper dress uniforms appropriate for such duties. Very interesting, very strange idea. And Potiorek stressed that they just should continue like nothing happened. And he even said that, do you think the Sarajevo is full of assassins? Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. So, yes, Potiorek then stressed on the idea that Franz Ferdinand should go back to the same place like nothing happened, and through the streets with his very unsafe car without soldiers securing him, because soldiers didn't have the uniforms. And yeah, very, very, very nice, very, very interesting set. I would say it was really smart idea to go back to through the same streets like nothing happened. Of course, smart in this way. So it's actually, I should say, it was amazing idea. Amazing. Okay, let's go. What is what happened? So Potiorek said that yeah, let's go. Well, let's go back to the streets like yeah, nothing happened. And so we see the video how
They
they
drive along the
came
same
back,
road on which they've survived
just
one
back to the
assassination
same
attempt
place
already
where
today.
the first
Meanwhile,
assassination
having failed in his assassination attempt, is standing around on
failed.
this street corner. Nobody
At
has
least
informed
close
the
to it.
Archduke's driver about the
And
change of plan.
yeah,
So at the very same junction, the driver slows down
they
and turns right.
yes, they returned to the place and turned to the one narrow street. Now I have to say the cavalcade was different, and it was 3 cars, and Franz Ferdinand's car was the last one. So it followed the other cars. Later they said that Loika himself made a little mistake and turned to the wrong street, but actually it wasn't so. um, the, all the cars turned to the same street, and later Potiorek said that he forgot to say to the chauffeurs of the other cars that not to go this street. I don't know why not to go this street, but okay. Potiorek said that he forgot accidentally forgot to say to the other chauffeurs, the other drivers also, that it not to go this street. Very interesting. Okay, the cars turned,
The
and
Archduke's
it was
car
Franz
rolled in, turned right, and stopped
Joseph's
right here.
street.
As the driver
You
was
can
told
see
they
the
actually
show
wanted to go that
of the
way. The
guy
driver
is
stalled the
showing
car.
the place, and you can see the signs behind the guy which is marking the place where I can see the assassination happened. So after the Potiorek said that, do you think the Sarajevo was full of assassins? Okay. Um, so very interesting thing was that Gavrilo Princip was present to the first assassination attempt. It was close to him, and he was waiting half an hours. Gavrilo Princip was waiting for half an hour there without any reason. Without any reason, because the first assassination attempt failed, and by any logic, there was no way that Franz Ferdinand is coming back. It was almost impossible. So I'm asking why the hell Gavrilo Princip was waiting there more than an hour without any reason. At least the reason explained us by the official history. Really, there was no reason to stay there, because if the first assassination failed, the Nedelko was captured, then it was logical that Gavrilo has to leave the city and leave the country as soon as possible, because it was clear that Nedelko will talk about the assassination attempt and the and the, and all the plan and who are involved that into the plan, and Gavrilo was in real danger, but he did not leave the place. He did not leave the city. He remained there more than an hour. I mean it. More than an hour he was staying there without any logical point by the official version of the story. Okay, but he was there. He was waiting at the totally right place. And what was happening there? There was Loika stopped the car exactly on the front of Gavrilo Princip. Really, very interesting. Very interesting. At this point, and you can see the corner, There was some kind of cafe. Gavrilo bought a sandwich to spend the time and eat the sandwich, and without any logical reason was standing there. Here you can see the theme. In the number two, Nedeljko Gabrinovich threw his bomb. It was some 200 meters away. At the number four, the Gavrilo Princip was waiting pointlessly more than an hour. And of course, and then the number three is a Sarajevo town hall. So everything was so unlogic as impossible. So yeah, as I said, accidentally happened 7 times things. Let's make it together. Accidentally, Potiorek failed to find a safer car. Accidentally, Potiorek failed to organize proper security team. Accidentally, the soldiers were secure Franz Ferdinand after the first assassination attempt. Accidentally, there were no soldiers to secure Franz Ferdinand after the first assassination attempt. Accidentally, the cars returned to the same place the assassination was planned because Potiorek said to otherwise. Accidentally, the car with Franz Ferdinand was the last, not the middle of the cavalcade. Accidentally, Gavrilo Princip was waiting for Franz Ferdinand about half an hour without any point, and accidentally Loika stops the car just in the front of the Princip. Princip was standing there. Loika stopped the car accidentally in the front of the Gavrilo Princip. And of course, Gavrilo Princip was in the right place at the right moment, just shot Franz Ferdinand as the plan was. He was put there to kill the Franz Ferdinand at the right place, right moment. Okay, he killed both Sophie and Franz Ferdinand. They died almost immediately, but he did not do anything against the Potiorek or the other officials. Although Potiorek was probably much more the enemy to the Princip than Franz Ferdinand or Sophie. So, yeah. Franz Ferdinand was killed with his wife. Gavrilo Princip was captured, arrested. No picture were actually made about it because it happened very fast. No show, no crowd around much. And of course, we can say later in the court, he was sentenced 20 years in prison. He was 18 years old and too young for the capital punishment, so he was sentenced 20 years. But interesting things have started to happen about the Gavrilo Princip person and his outlook, and you see, this is a court photo about the Gavrilo Princip. He is in the middle. Besides him is Nedeljko Chabrinovich, with the guy with the beard, but in the middle is Gavrilo Princip, the guy who shot the Franz Ferdinand, waiting for the right moment, right place for half an hour, and the Franz Ferdinand was just brought to front of him just to let Franz Gavrilo to kill him brutally but very sharply. Okay, those are the photos of Gavrilo Princip. You can see the guy, pretty handsome, with a axe-shaped face, with a quite um, sharp outlook, very sharp sight. Those are real court photos. Nothing problem with them. And here are some other photos too. Number 3 is Chabrinovich, and number 1 is marked Princip. You can see the same face, axe-looking face, very straight, very sharp, very determined. It's the same photo. You can see how much taller was Chabrinovich and how short was Princip. Anyway, Princip here is number 2 and Chabrinovich number 1. They are handcuffed with each other. Very interesting. But yes, those are the court and prison photos. But later years, appeared such kind of picture of Gavrilo Princip, which is quite different, very different. If you compare some pictures of Princip in during the court and later the official pictures, those we can see they are very different guys in the pictures. The nose is different, the eyes are different. In the official historic books, photos are a very sad looking guy with a little mustaches. Um, very sad and very desperate guy, and on the right photos there is a very determined, very straight looking, not a sad guy at all. The nose is sharp, and but in the left photo, the official photo, the nose is wide and not sharp at all. The hairline is different. Everything is different. Those are not the same people. Let's make it. Those Yeah, these are not the same guy at all. So why this kind of picture is used later decades, I don't know. Who is the guy? I don't know. Maybe it's Chabrinovich, maybe not. Chabrinovich has pretty the same sad view, sad outlook, but maybe it's not. But anyway, the left or the right guy actually is the real Gavrilo Princip, and the left guy probably not at all. But it's hard to understand why they use a totally different guy as a model, as official photo. Maybe the Bosniaks wanted to shame the Gavrilo Princip, who officially died in 1918 through the tuberculosis. But yeah, maybe the Bosniaks wanted to look, or the Austrian powers wanted to look the Gavrilo Princip such a pathetic, sad, and pointless figure. Unlike this photo, like here, this is much more sharp and determined and much more handsome guy. But it's very strange. Serbians even built the statues of the Gavrilo Princip after I think, the fake photo, the pathetic photo. You can see that's very they are using the very much sad looking, probably the fake photo here is Emil Kusturica kissing the statue. So, okay, Gavrilo Princip shot the Franz Ferdinand and his wife, and both were killed. Both were dead almost immediately, and what we see is the aftermath of all the event. Is yes, everybody were happy to say. Okay, as I said, Gavrilo was sentenced to 20 years, but he died in prison. But the Serbians got this hero. He was memorized with several different objects in later here's Yugoslavia, and he got the statues and he got the legend. Okay, but in the short term, Emperor Franz Joseph was relieved. He was, we can say, he was happy because his hated Franz Ferdinand was dead. Potiorek wanted the anti-Serb actions for a long time, and he got them. He organized anti-Serb programs which were very violent, and later years when the war started, he was a brief time some kind of war hero, a little bit. He was happy too. So, but as I said, Austria-Hungary starts the July crisis against Serbia and started the war against Serbia, which was growing into the World War One. But actually, the Serbia was pretty good against Austria, and it was Austria-Hungary wasn't happy with the war at all. Finally, and as I said, as we know, at the end of the World War One, the Austro-Hungarian empire was gone for good. After the death of Franz Joseph, now at 1916, Karl Franz Joseph becomes the emperor of as Karl the First, or the Charles the First in English literature. So the young guy who was very was to come the emperor after the Franz Ferdinand becomes emperor at once after the death of Franz Joseph. So he was happy too. And Karl, as the Emperor Karl the First, he pays 400,000 crowns to Leopold Loika, the guy who drove the Franz Ferdinand just straight in the front of the assassin, in the front of the Leopold Loika was he was a driver who drove the Franz Ferdinand straight to the death and the straight to the to the in the front of the Gavrilo Princip who could kill him. And so the Leopold Loika was paid 400,000 crowns. It was very interesting why such a huge sum of money. Um, Maybe Karl the First was so happy, was so so well, no, grateful towards Leopold Loika, but maybe Loika started to talk too much, and maybe he started to bribe the conspirators, and including the Karl the First. Maybe he said, "No, okay, if you don't pay, I talk about it to everything about it to the foreign newspapers or something." Okay, uh, the Leopold Loika just bought the uh, hotel with the money, and was very happy with it. But it didn't last long because he died in 1920s. He wasn't very old when he died. Maybe the death was a bit helped. He died in July 18, 1926. So yeah, maybe he was the longest happy with all the assassination, because yes, Karl the First lost his um, crown. The Potiorek lost his job in the Austrian-Hungary military because the Austrian-Hungary was gone for good, and the other guys weren't happy with the outcome of the war too. But Loika at least could keep the money and buy the hotel and to feel himself good until his premature death. But anyway, it's all the story. All the story smells badly because Potiorek made everything to get Franz Ferdinand killed, and all the other guys did everything that Franz Ferdinand would be killed by a bit mysterious guy called Gavrilo Princip. So, but yes, after all the kind of things, all the kind of very strange, accidents, very strange actions, very strange decisions. I can say that official history about the assassination of Franz Ferdinand is quite much bullshit, because this kind of accidents doesn't happen in such way too much. And I can say that my theory about the assassination is that Franz Ferdinand was the assassination of Franz Ferdinand was ordered by the Austrian-Hungarian royal family, and organized by Oscar Potiorek, who found some local Serbs gang to execute it. And Potiorek just dragged Franz Ferdinand to the slaughter. That's my. I think I'm right. It's my theory because it's so weird story, weird accidents, and weird decisions. Too much of them, and I can. This kind of things doesn't happen so such way. Thank you watching. Thank you watching the my unofficial. Thank you watching my lecture of unofficial history. The very important case of assassination of Franz Ferdinand, and I hope we will soon much more such kind of very weird uh, official histories stories which look much better as unofficial versions. Bye.